ダブツ、ナモンダブツ。合唱。ナモアミダブツ。ナモアミダブツ。ナモアミダブツ。ナモアミダブツ。ナモアミダブツ。ナモアミダブツ。ナモンダ、ナモンダ、ナモンダ、ナモンダ。Hello, and welcome to the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple's Sunday YouTube service for Sunday, August 8th, 2021. We are so glad you've come to join us in celebrating the Buddha Dharma. Today's service order is going to be Juseige. Juseige can be found on page 57 in the Blue Denver Service Book. We'll then have a reading of The Three Treasures by Sensei Frank Miyazawa. You can find The Three Treasures on page 106 in the Blue Denver Service Book. We'll then have a Dharma talk in English. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about any of our TSDBT services, please feel free to leave a comment in the comments section below. And if you'd like to see more Jodo Shinshu services and programs, please feel free to hit the subscribe button as well. And we all here at Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple hope that you have yourself a great week, and we'll see you again soon.
Gangon chosengan hishiru jodo shingan fumanzok seifu joshogak gaomuryoku fuidai seishu fusai shobingu seifu joshogak gashijo buddho myosho chojipo kukyomisho seifu joshogak ryokujin shonen joe shubongyo shingu jodo isho tennin shi jin nikien daiko usho rusaido shoujo sankumyo kosai shuyakunan kaihi chien meshi konnoan heisoku shoakudo tsudaten shumo koso jomanzo iyoro jipo nichigat shujuki tenkon fugen ishu kai hozo koseku dokuho jodai 大衆従説法ししく供養一切部具足習徳法元年心上満徳意三概要女仏無下知津達未不詳願学へ理投資最小尊志願若国家大戦の感動国書天にとうち妙慶なまんなぶなまんなぶなまんなぶなまんなぶなまんなぶなまんなぶがんにしくどく平等性一切道本も大心往生安楽ナモアミダ仏
ナモアミダ仏
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 ナモアミダ仏ナンマンダナンマンダナンマンダナンマンダ
Three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human form. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of the way to enlightenment and become aware of his supreme teaching. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of his doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in the life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namu Amida Buddha. Namu Amida Buddha. Namu Amida Buddha. Namanda, namanda, namanda.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us once again to hear the Buddha Dharma. Today, I'm going to be reading from the Gobunsho, the letters of Renyo. So please join me in Gassho. This letter comes from the first fascicle, or the first collection. This is letter 2, entitled, Faith is Attained in the One Thought Moment. This school of ours, established by Shinran Shonin, has its fundamental principle that we should not become homeless monks in our aspiration for enlightenment, nor that we should renounce family and abandon all worldly desires, but simply we should attain other power faith with the awakening of the one thought moment of taking refuge in Amida Buddha. Once this faith has decisively attained, there will be no discrimination whatsoever between male and female, young and old. The sutra describes the state of attaining faith as immediately attaining birth and dwelling in the stage of non-retrogression. And the commentary states, with the awakening of the one thought moment, we enter the company of those who are rightly assured of birth in the Pure Land. This is what's meant by the words, not waiting for Amida to come and meet us at the moment of our death. And also by the phrase, completing the cause of birth in the Pure Land in ordinary life. In the Wasan, Shinran Shonin says, those who aspire to be born in Amida's land of enjoyment, though their outward forms may vary, should receive faith of the name of the original vow, and whether awake or asleep, never forget it. With these words, though their outward forms may vary, Shinran Shonin means there's no distinctions made between laypersons and priests, or men and women. Next, should receive through faith the name of the original vow, and whether awake or asleep, never forget it. Means that no matter what kinds of lives we lead, even if our karmic existence may have involved the 10 bad acts and the 5 grave offenses, or even if we are among those who have slandered the Dharma or who lack the seed of Buddhahood, as long as we undergo spiritual reformation, repent and realize through deep faith that Amida Tathagata's original vow is just for wretched people as ourselves, and then entrust ourselves without any double-mindedness to the Tathagata, whether awake or asleep, always remember to be mindful of Amida, we can indeed say to be people of faith, who have become fully determined to entrust ourselves to the original vow. Beyond this, even when we recite the name, whether walking, standing, sitting, or laying down, we should think of it as our grateful response to Amida Tathagata for what he has done for us. Such a person is called one who has attained true faith and is decisively assured birth in the Pure Land. Most humbly and respectfully, on the 18th of July, the year Bunmei 3, 1471. Namo Amida Buddha. 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 So this is one of the first letters in Renyo's collection of letters. And Renyo being the 8th Gomonshu, the 8th head of both the Otani and the Honganji sects of Shinshu Buddhism. And in fact, this book I'm reading from, Living with Thanks, the Gojo Ofumi, is actually a translation related to the Otani school, or what we call Higashi Honganji. However, more or less, it's the exact same translation. This is just happens to be put out by a Higashi priest. I really like this passage. And it's a subject that I've touched on a lot in probably the last year, and that's the idea of equality. That within the Nembutsu, there's no difference between good and bad person. There is no good or bad person. There's no difference between a monk, a lay person, or anyone else. Everyone is embraced by the vow equally. And so we human beings only must say Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So let's take a look at this passage a little more closely. There's a part in there that may have jumped out to you. It jumped out to me. And it talks about immediately attaining birth and dwelling in a stage of having attained faith, also known as dwelling in the stage of non-retrogression. And this is in reference to the statement he said later by, you don't have to wait for Amida to come and meet us at the moment of our death. So prior to Shinran and Honen for that matter, many Nembutsu practitioners, especially monks of Mount Hiei, so the Tendai monks, monks of Pure Land traditions from China, they really focused on saying the perfect amount and the perfect Nembutsu right at the moment of death. And so you'd have these extremely eminent monks, including a monk from our 7 Pure Land masters, the 6th Pure Land master, and he said that he would die staring at Amida. And there were strings coming down from Amida attached to him. And he looked towards Amida and tried to say, in the moment of his death, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, with the belief that saying it perfectly and saying it in that moment, he would close his eyes and then open them again to see Amida coming down from the Pure Land to greet him upon the moment of his death. To be frank, I'm not probably going to be that put together in the moment I die. Genshin was probably a much better monk, priest, minister than I am, which is great because Shinran's saying you don't have to be that great, which is, pretty okay. What Shinran says here is, take refuge in the vow. Say Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. And in that, say it with singleness of heart in that one thought moment where the only thought you have is the extreme amount of gratitude, knowing that you will be born with nothing to worry about, with no fail, and you will enter the stage of the non-retrogression. And in that, you are assured birth in the Pure Land, even if you have committed the 10 bad acts and the 5 grave offenses. So you can be kind of a normal person. You can be what some people would call a bad person. You can be what some people would call a good person. And it doesn't matter because these are all our calculations. These are all our points of view. Because from Amida's point of view, what we're saying is we are a foolish person. We are a person of greed, anger, and ignorance. And in that, I'm like, I need some help. Please help me, Amida-sama. And so I look to Amida, and Amida says, it's okay, you're a normal person. You live this normal life. And because you asked for this help, and because you're so aware of the fact that you can't generate this merit on your own, I'm going to give you a hand. And birth in the Pure Land is truly assured. Namanda Boots. So Renyo says in that, as long as we undergo a spiritual reformation, repent and realize through the deep faith that Amida Tathagata's original vow is just for such wretched people as ourselves, then we entrust ourselves without any double-mindedness to the Tathagata, and whether awake or asleep, always remember to be mindful of Amida. We can indeed say to be people of faith who have become fully determined to entrust ourselves to the original vow. So I had a conversation with someone not long ago, and they said, how do I know if I've said the Nembutsu right? I said, are you worried about it? And they said, yes. And I said, then you said it right. Because it is a concern. It's the matter of the greatest concern. And if you contemplate it when awake and when asleep, when it's in your mind, no matter what, when you think on Amida before you eat and after you sleep, before you watch TV, In any other moment, if Amida comes in your mind and you look outside and all that can slip from your lips is Namo Amida Butsu, then do not stress, my friend. Everything will be okay. I think I'm a foolish person. And one of the other things in here at the very beginning, this school of ours, established by Shinran Shonin, has it as a fundamental principle that we should not become a homeless monk in our aspiration for enlightenment, nor should we renounce family and abandon all worldly desires, but simply we should attain other power of faith with the awakening of the one thought moment of taking refuge in Amida Buddha. So, in the past, monks and nuns would leave home. And when I say leave home, I mean leave home, leave their lives. They lost their name. They changed their name. Honinbo. Shinran Shonin's teacher, Honinbo, Genku. The name Honen and the name Bo means like space. Literally, when you say Honinbo, you're actually referring to the space that the monk referred to as Honen lives in. This is Honen's cubby. That's how much he left his secular life behind. Any life he had, anything he had, was left behind. In order for him to remove all worldly distractions, in order to build the merit necessary to be born in the Pure Land. Honen, even though he later focuses on the other power practice, knowing that he is a foolish person, in the beginning aspires to do it on his own, or aspires to make it part way on his own. The monks of Koyasan in Japan, the Shingon monks, do intricate and beautiful and amazing rituals and are to be deeply respected in that, but they're trying to do it on their own. If you are such a person that can do that, then I am so deeply in awe of you. I am not. Maybe you are not. Maybe you are. Maybe this is a lesson that helps drive you down that path. But for me, I just want to say, Namo Amida Butsu, and live a happy life. I had an amazing week a couple weeks ago. My wife and I got a chance to take a couple weeks off, and we went up to Seattle on vacation. And it's one of those moments, sometimes on vacation, that you get to see something that really helps you appreciate where you are in the world and your both smallness and yet oneness with everything. So we got to go kayaking. And I absolutely adore going kayaking, going out on the water. And so we went up to the town of Bellingham, Washington, rented a couple kayaks from Community Boating Center. So if you ever go up to Bellingham, Washington, amazing place to rent kayaks. And we paddled out and got next to the shore. We went out in the Puget Sound, which is basically the Pacific Ocean, and paddled down to these rocks. It was about 4 or 5 miles away from the dock. And there are seals. Adult seals and baby seals. There's adult seagulls and baby seagulls. There's these little tiny seals. And we're paddling around, and I look back at my wife, and here pops up this tiny little seal. Pops up and looks. It's looking at me, it's looking at my wife, it's looking at me, it's looking at my wife, and then I look to the right, and all along these rocks, there's all these seals, and they're striking a pose. They're doing seal stuff. And I have to wonder, I don't understand how that works. I don't understand what it's like to be a seal. I bet it's really cool, like in seal terms, but I have no idea or comprehension of what that reality is. It is beyond my understanding. And so that is one of the things, looking at these seals, being absolutely in awe and wonder of these seals, how wonderful these seals are. How wonderful these living beings who are curious enough to swim under my kayak and pop their head up and look at me and be curious of me. And I don't understand them. I don't know why they did that. But they obviously have a sense of self and they have a sense of other. And I don't understand it. So I am ignorant to that. And that is why I know I am ignorant to a point, because I can't even understand a seal, a mammal, something that's pretty much related to me, something I can see and something we can create taxonomy for, something that I know where it fits within a DNA code, and yet I don't understand why. And that why is really the question that drove Shakyamuni Buddha to sit underneath a tree. It drove the first turning of the wheel, and now it drives me to say Namo Amida Butsu, because I am not capable of leaving my home. I am not capable of being a monk in the woods. And I am not capable of being an enlightened one without assistance. And so, Renyo says in the subscript on this, faith in the one-thought moments on becoming homeless monks in aspiration for enlightenment. We do not have to become homeless monks. You can look at your family around you can look at your friends around you and show them the true love, compassion, and let the light of Amida shine through you in saying the Nembutsu. So I hope you've had a wonderful week. And I know if you're watching this pretty close to live, it's been pretty smoky here in Denver, but that's okay because the winds will come and the light will shine on you no matter what. So join me in the practice that Renyo talked about, that Shinran talked about, and that Shinran's teacher Honen talked about, in saying together in Gassho, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.